time for our 3 o'clock press conference. We have two special guests with us, Mr. Eric Schneeberger, the Chief Marketing Officer of American Century Investments, and the great Joe Theismann with us. Thank you, gentlemen. What we'd like to do is talk about a couple of the initiatives that American Century Investments is bringing into this tournament this year. And we've got a pretty exciting one that's out on number 14. Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the Smash for Cash.
Great, thank you. Like every year, we're always looking for new and innovative ways to engage our celebrities, our guests. And so this year, we have a new innovation that we put on the 14th hole. It's called Smash for Cash. It's a combination of modern technology, golf tracking. All good. As well as some AI. So basically, when you tee off at 14 on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be tracking swing statistics. We are actually calculating something called the smash factor. That is the ball speed divided by the club speed. Max registered is 1.5. And essentially, the way that it works is we're tracking that information. There's a technology that's taking a picture. It's pulling the background off that picture. It's actually using AI in the cloud to generate a custom, unique visual background, and then it displays it on a massive screen. It's a competition, like everything at the American Century Championship. This is an opportunity to showcase the culture of American Century Investments, of giving back, like 40% of our profits going to the Stowers Institute of Medical Research. In this instance, for Smash for Cash, the winning group with the highest average smash factor will be provided $10,000 to direct to their charity of choice. So we're really excited about this. We ran it out there today. I encourage you guys to go out to 14 tomorrow. It'll be there for the morning round. Joe's going to take a whack at it. I don't know, Joe, if you've seen some of these pictures, what you think
I
here?
have. I haven't seen anything that looks like my swing yet, but I'm actually very excited to see it. You're always curious, you know, as an athlete, you always want to know where you stand in different situations. And, you know, I see John Smoltz, of course, you know, one of those guys that could win the tournament. John wants to be the oldest player to ever win this tournament, and certainly, you know, he plays well enough to be able to do it. But really, it's interesting when you look at the different statistics that come up. We always hear about how hard the ball is hit, how far it's going to go, what's the smash factor that they've used before, and now I get a chance to try it. I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, it's great. And what's really great about this is it's not about how hard you swing. It's about the energy transfer from the club to the ball. So you can actually have an 80-mile-an-hour swing and still register a 1.5 smash factor if you hit it exactly right on the sweet spot of the club. So this was a way to make it fun and enjoyable for everyone, and everyone can compete. And it's really about precision, much more about precision than speed and brute force.
And I think those things are so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many incredible athletes that are here, and actors that love the game, and musicians that love the game. It's one other element to be able to gauge yourself against other people. I mean, let's face it, we're competition junkies.
Oh, yeah.
Those of us that are here absolutely love to compete. We love to compete against the course. Everybody says, well, you know, you're really not playing against someone. You're playing the golf course. No, that's not true. You're actually playing against someone. And this is a chance to be able to, once again, draw a comparison of where you are to where you want to be.
Yeah, there's no doubt there was a lot of celebration out there, and some almost got into first place. So far, after one day, we have Jerome Bettis and Jay Billis at the top of the leaderboard tied.
Wow.
And we'll see how tomorrow goes. So everyone gets another shot at it to see if they can beat a 1.48 combined average smash factor for their team.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
So one other thing we're really excited about in 2025 is our relatively new investment capability, Avantis Investors. So for those of you that don't know, Avantis Investors was launched in 2019, and it is a new investment capability, relatively new investment capability for American Century Investments, along that same vein of always innovating on behalf of our clients to help them have a better future. So Avantis Investors, within just over 5 years, reached $75 billion from zero, which is wonderful. And we are unveiling the first ever ad campaign sponsored and highlighting Avantis Investors. So I'll show you the first one, and then I'll kind of explain to you a little bit about what we're doing on air throughout the weekend. So you want the first one?
If you invest in index ETFs, your money may go untended for a year.
Aw,
in the rough again. It's a bummer.
No, this is the fairway. That's the rough.
Hey, you guys seen my ball? No? Nobody? Unbelievable.
Unlike index ETFs, Avantis tends to your investments daily. Avantis Investors by American Century Investments.
So the general idea behind these is twofold. Number one, mirroring the fun and games that we have here at the American Century
Yeah,
Championship.
don't hit it in the rough,
Don't hit it in the rough. Or in that case, the rough fairway.
the real rough.
And really highlighting the stark contrast that Avantis Investors brings to the marketplace. Many investors invest in passive investments or index investments, and they're good, don't get me wrong. But Avantis Investors is different in that indexes only rebalance or only look at the investments once a year. Avantis Investors is looking at investments every single day. And so you get the benefits of an ETF, which is a low-cost, tax-efficient investment vehicle, but also the benefits of active management, which is essentially evaluating portfolio holdings daily. So throughout Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be running these. We created 9. The reason we created 9 is because we run a lot of commercials throughout this tournament, and we wanted to honor our viewers with something a little bit different every single time they see these. So we'll run the next one, and you can see what I'm talking about.
If you invest in index ETFs, your money may go untended for a year.
Aw, in the rough again. It's a bummer.
No, this is the fairway. That's the rough.
I would keep my head down if I were you.
Yes, sir.
And your face closed.
Unlike index ETFs, Avantis tends to your investments daily. Avantis Investors by American Century Investments.
And I'll show you one more.
If you invest in index ETFs, your money may go untended for a year.
Aw, in the rough again. It's a bummer.
No, this is the fairway. That's the rough.
Take it from us. You are never getting out of there.
Not with that swing. Okay.
Unlike index ETFs, Avantis tends to your investments daily. Avantis Investors by American Century Investments.
So like I said, we're going to run 9 of these. They will only run once between Saturday and Sunday because they're all different. And then we have a special ending that I'm not going to spoil for you. You just need to tune in on Sunday and see the special ending. So lastly, this is our 5th year, I cannot believe it, our 5th year for fantasy golf at American Century, the American Century Championship. And so, Joe, I know you've played several years in a row and really enjoy it. So I'd love to hear, your thoughts.
It's exciting. I think so many sports now have a fantasy aspect to it. And what we've created with the it's actually go to accfantasygolf.com, it'll tell you all about it. But what we've been able to do is get everybody involved. So every player in the tournament winds up in 5 different groups. You're separated by your ability to play the game. You get to choose a team of your own from each of those 5 categories. The thing about it is you don't have to lock into that particular group for the entire tournament. You get to go to a different group the next day if you like, or someone else. And if you win the first day, you wind up with 2 tickets back to next year's tournament. Win the second day, you wind up with 2 tickets back. And if you win the third day and win it all, you win 2 tickets to next year's tournament, and you get a $10,000 check to the charity of your choice. So not only are you able to go out and compete, as like I say, we love to do, but it's involving the fantasy world, which everybody loves, and now all of a sudden it's a chance to win money to give back to charity. And you think about what American Century Investments has been able to do, the amount they give back, over 40% of the net profits go to the Stower Institute for Medical Research. I think if all of us took a step back for a second and said, how much money do I make? What's 40% of what I make? And that's what goes to the research. That's how powerful American Century is with their investments. And I'm excited about the new aspect as well. But fantasy now is in its 5th year. It seems like it only started yesterday. And I won't tell you what group I'm in. I'm going to make you go look online. So go look online, figure out where I am.
So great. And today is the cutoff time for registering for fantasy golf. So if you go to accfantasygolf.com and register before midnight Pacific today, you have the opportunity to win the overall and not only win 2 tickets and expense paid to next year's tournament, you also have the ability, if you win, to get that $10,000 directed to your charity of choice. I'll say one of the things I'm most proud of about this tournament, and honestly about American Century Investments, is this tournament has generated over $8 million to various, over a dozen charities, I think it is, over the course of the tournament. And then on top of that, that 40% you talk about, that represents $2.2 billion to fund research for cures for cancer and other gene-based diseases. So it's just a wonderful organization, and we really pride ourselves on, number one, taking care of our clients and giving them the best chance for their financial future, but secondly, our impact on humankind.
I'm thrilled to be here. The tournament's been around 36 years. American Century Investments has been a sponsor for 27. I've been lucky enough to play in 35 of them. And boy, has it changed out here. From the 50 people that were on the 17th hole 36 years ago to the 15,000 that are there now. And it's a test. What's really great about the tournament, too, is it tests your mettle, because we're used to playing in front of crowds. Now, all of a sudden, you're standing on a tee, and everybody's standing there, and they get real quiet. And you go, oh, no, make some noise. I mean, I played in front of 100,000 people. I need some noise. Of course, the band's rocking and everything else is going on. That gives you a little more comfort level. But this game is an entirely different game, and American Century Investments provides us as athletes and as entertainers the opportunity to be able to experience things that is out of our element. And it really makes you dig down deep to be able to come up with it. And we talk about what American Century Investments has done with the Stour Institute, also the Lake Tahoe area benefits from the charities as well. And so, you know, it's a community that's embraced us here. We love being here, but the American Century Championship is something that is so special.
Well, Joe, I have you in my fantasy team, and I'm going to keep you all weekend long because I believe in you.
You're so kind.
Thank you so much.
Eric.
Hey, Eric, I do need to mention one thing. Because this is a media room, it's free to play, okay? Oh, come on, you guys. All right, Dan, I think you have a question up there.
Yes, guys, my name is Dan Hinksman. I do stories for the tournament. Joe, I got a couple Notre Dame questions for you, if I may. Jerome Bettis and Larry Fitzgerald have a couple of sons, or a son each, going to Notre Dame this year. Jerome's obviously a legacy. Can you just talk about your excitement with them, and have you had a chance to talk to them about their sons going?
I just found out a couple days ago that Jerome's son was going and Larry's was going as well, and there are a few more other sons that are going, the wide receivers, basically. So I was kidding as I was walking off the putting green. I said to Jerome, I said, your son's going to Notre Dame. And he says, yeah. And I says, as a wide receiver. He says, yeah. I says, well, he has your niftiness. And I won't express what he flashed me, but it was a, oh, yeah, sure, no. But he does. That's one thing about Jerome. People didn't realize. Great feet. And his son, I think, is going to be a terrific addition to our football team. Marcus has done a terrific job at the University of Notre Dame. I mean, his leadership, what we managed to accomplish last year, getting so close. This year, the quarterbacks that are there have actually been there, which will be different with which goes on with the portal all the time. So, but I'm excited for these young men to be part of the University of Notre Dame.
And kind of to follow up on that, I guess last year was probably the best season since the Lou Holtz era.
Sure.
With the changes in the power structure with the SEC and the 4 power conferences, is it easier, harder, the same for Notre Dame to compete for a national title?
I think it's about the same to compete for a national title. We got so close last year with different type of conferences. You know, for years people have asked me questions, is Notre Dame ever going to join a conference? Well, every year it's a different looking conference. And Notre Dame still manages to stay right where it is. Extremely competitive. You know, I don't care what conference you're in. I think we can compete against anybody at the University of Notre Dame. And so I think it'll pretty much stay status quo as it is. But, you know, the landscape of college athletics is changing tremendously. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we try and move along in step with it, but we do it the Notre Dame way, which I think is the right way.
And then finally, if I may, we're a few months away from 40 years since that famous incident on Monday Night Football. Other than me asking you about it now, do you still get asked about it a lot?
I always get asked about the accident, like people like to call it an accident, when Lawrence and I sort of ran into one another. I do play golf. I should say he ran into me. I do play golf with Lawrence Taylor, but I don't let him stand where I can't see him. Just so you know, he has to be in my vision to be able to feel comfortable hitting the golf ball. But it was a time that changed my life. I had wonderful success as a quarterback for Washington. You know, being a Redskin quarterback and winning championships and MVPs and all that kind of stuff is great. Sometimes we get full of ourselves. And I had reached a point where I'd pretty much gotten full of myself. And I believe it was through divine intervention that, you know, it was taken away from me and given me an opportunity to talk about it, to be able to tell people, you know, stay within yourself. Think about the things that are important to you, your family, you know, your beliefs in God. And I believe that it was God's hand that came and said, okay, look, you had the ability to be able to play this game, and now it's time for you to go do something else because I feel like you might be taking it a little bit too far. He could have called. I still have no problem with that. But it's, I think that day changed my life. It was a life that was going in a direction that I would not be very proud of, and I'm trying very hard to just be the best person I can be going forward, and it's because of that night.
That's nice. I assume it's titanium you have in there, and does it still bother you at all? Do you have any effects from
Actually,
it?
I don't have a rod, and I never rodded my leg. The rods hadn't really come about back in 1985. It was sort of new, and I had a good union, and my surgeon decided that we'd let it go, and it worked well for 40-plus years. Now I got a titanium hip, and that's titanium, I can tell you that. Real quick story. First time I go through the airport with my new hip, I empty my pockets, and all of a sudden, the machine goes off. I step back out. I take my belt off. Machine goes off. I said, what's going on here? They said, do you have any metal in your body? And I went, oh, okay, I got one of those. I got a hip. So now, but it's been great. I feel great. Dr. Jimmy Guyton in Memphis, Tennessee, put me back together, and I am absolutely thrilled with the ability to be able to walk. I'm excited about going out. I played in this tournament last year with the old hip. Now I get a shot with the new one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Andrew Hughes with the Sporting News. Joe, I had a question for you. So today, The Athletic just published a pretty long piece about Notre Dame and Clemson's incoming 12-game series that's going to run through 2038, I believe it was. I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on just new rivalries in college football in general? Like, what the concept of that?
I think it's exciting to have new rivalries because, like I said, the conferences continue to change. I mean, you think USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. Who would have ever thought of that 3, 4, 5 years ago? To be able to go out and have a home-and-home series with Clemson, I think is exciting. It's a great program, terrific school. They've done a terrific job there. And I think, you know, for us to be able to continue to be an independent and play in different conferences, this is something that needs to happen. And, you know, we're certainly going to be up to the task, I can tell you that.
For sure. And to follow up on that, do you think that having a rivalry with a school like Clemson, given that Notre Dame is in the ACC besides football, do you think that moves the needle in the direction of Notre Dame joining the ACC, or do you see that independent status?
You know, I don't know what Pete's going to do out there. I'm not sure what decisions the university wants to make regarding joining a conference or not joining a conference. Like I say, I think we're very comfortable where we are. Certainly, you're always going to consider it. You consider the possibilities economically. You know, when you think about the economics that a university gets, it isn't like the program, the football program or basketball program gets it. Everybody benefits. The educational part of it is so vitally important. Our different departments are given an opportunity to be able to expand what they're able to do for the student body. So I think having that kind of a rivalry, adding to it, can't do anything but be good.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
I'm Inman, Bay Area News Group. I have a question that ties investments and quarterbacks together. So the local pro quarterback here is Brock Purdy for the 49ers. Niners made a sizable investment in him this offseason. So, Joe, what's your take on Brock Purdy, and how can having all that newfound wealth impact a player's just mindset, I guess, when he's playing?
Well, the first thing he needs to do is get the hold of Atlantis Investments and get a hold of American Century Investments and say, hi, I'm Brock Purdy.
That's right.
I'd like to sit down and talk to you. Yeah. I just happen to have fallen into a very large pile of money, and I'd like to be able to invest it, and I'd like to be able to keep an eye on it every day, not once a year. I was thrilled for Brock. I really am. I mean, this Mr. Irrelevant, all you want to do is get into the game, and he did. He's smart. He gets the ball out well. He fits into Kyle's system so well out in San Francisco. His ability to get rid of the ball, the ability to anticipate. And to be rewarded the way he is, I'm thrilled. I felt sorry for him last year at the number he was at.
Yeah.
But now he managed to make it through the year, and we see these numbers go out of the chart. 1984, I was the 4th highest paid player in the National Football League at $1 million a year. I don't begrudge these guys one penny. I'm thrilled for them. Get as much as you can. And now the pressure really gets on them to be able to say, okay, can you earn the dollars? You earn the opportunity to get it.
Right.
Now can you earn the dollars? That's really where it falls. But I'm thrilled for Brock. And I think the 49ers will bounce back this year, not just because I'm close by. And I flew out on the plane with George Kittle. And scares the living daylights out of you.
Right.
He is old school, man. I love the guy. Absolutely love the guy. But San Francisco was beat up so bad last year. And, you know, ones can't play against twos and have a lot of success. And that's what the 49ers were stuck playing with, a lot of guys that were, you know, not the number ones. So I'm thrilled for him. I think he's a smart kid. That's the first thing I noticed about Brock, is to process that offense as well as he did, coming in and doing the things he did. You got to admit, he started as far away from being a starter as you possibly could, other than being a punt returner.
Yep.
That's about as far away you can get. But, and he's done a terrific job. I'm thrilled for him. I'm excited for him.
Okay, so what's your first impressions of George Kittle then, other than you're scared?
George is old school.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to have played with George Kittle. I'm not kidding. His approach to the game of football, we talked a lot of football. We talked a lot of different things. And I'll tell you something. His approach to the game of football is the way I've looked at it. He wants to be the best. He works his rear end off to be the best. He tries to help the young guys understand what they need to do to be the best. And I just absolutely had one of the best trips I've ever had.
Well, he wrote the foreword for my book that came out last year, so I endorse him as well.
And we
So there
both have
go.
the same opinion.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Sure.
Cam, thanks for that shameless plug. All right, there we go. Very important. All right, everybody. So tomorrow on hole number 14, smash for cash. And let's see how much money we can raise for charity. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank
you so much.
All right.